And how it can be utilised. I think what we're going to do is delve a little deeper here. Your moderator here is, where's our moderator? Is Amra Mohammed Khashoggi. Amra, thank you very much.
Thank you.
May I allow you to introduce your panel?
Thank you.
And I'll give you a 5-minute warning towards the end.
Okay, I don't see any of them. Ah, there they are. Okay. I know it's coming towards the end, and so I'm sure everybody is kind of tired, but let me welcome our Dr. Khalid. تفضل. Hello. كيف الحال? How are you? Nice to see you, Asko. Nice to see you face to face. Hello, أختي سارة. كيف الحال? Okay. If you'll have to excuse me, this is my 4th session, so I just have to reorient my head on what we're talking about. So we have with us Dr. Khalid Al-Ramadan. We have Asko Kapyaho. Did I say it correct? Okay. From Finland. And we have Sarah Alnasser. She's a researcher, and I'm learning a lot from her, especially about metaverse, right? So today we're going, we've been traveling around this forum talking about supply and demand. We've been talking about equipment. We're talking about upgrading mines and minerals, talking about investments or lack thereof, underinvestment in various fields. And so now we need to address the technology and the innovation and how it can help us to support the mining industry, which is a promising sector in Saudi Arabia. So let me start first of all with Dr. Khalid, because he's in education. So he's preparing the future miners of tomorrow, right? I hope of today, because we are running really late. So the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Amro, for having me, and it's a great pleasure and honor to be here with such distinguished audience at the Future Minerals Forums. What a nice atmosphere to be outside. As a field geologist, we love to be outside, and it's really a wonderful moment to be here. Well, with regards to exploration in geosciences, we know that the most difficult part in geosciences is that we are dealing with a massive amount of data of different scales, qualities, and resolutions. When it comes to scales, we deal in mineral exploration with larger scale, like satellite images acquired from remote sensing, all the way to core data acquired from boreholes into micro or nanoscales data acquired through geochemical analysis. And all this complex type of scales of data really pose a serious issue with respect to the interpretation. And trying to, as a geoscientist, trying to put all these data together and get the best out of it and get the pattern that will help us in the exploration phase to pinpoint So the most difficult part in exploration is to drill in the wrong place. That's one of the exploration risks. So if we can have some tool like artificial intelligence that will help us to integrate all these complex data together and save time, save cost, and reduce the uncertainty to pinpoint where to dig the next future mine. So I think from education point of view, if that's the second part of the question, the most important part or the most duty of educational institutions is to prepare the young talents from early stage of their studies, like in the freshman year or sophomore year, by introducing some of these AI digitalizations and data analysis and analytics in order to equip them with all needed what you call tools that will help them in their majors and their even what you call workforce when they graduate.
Intelligence today, or AI, is going into so many different fields. I mean, I have people now that they say, I don't need a secretary. I can have AI write my reports for me or write my letters for me. And of course, they use it in the medical field and so forth. So, Asko, why don't you tell us the role of AI, especially in exploration of the moon?
I am coming from Finland Geological Survey, and from that perspective, I have a lot of colleagues who has been dealing with the exploration and utilizing artificial intelligence tools there, more specifically machine learning tools. What GTK has been doing in the recent 20 years has been mineral prospectivity analysis, and aim of that is to find prospective areas in prospective areas in variety of scale. It can be from even global scale, but it can be regional scale. It can be even target scale. And the methods are variable, but quite commonly also data is variable. There can be geological data, it can be geophysical data, there could be, like Khalid said, there could be variety of kind of geochemical data and also remote sensing data, for example. So then becomes the machine learning into a picture, because human brains doesn't find necessary all the aspects there in the vast amount of data. And GTK has been especially developing the methods in that field. I give you an example. For example, if we have orogenic gold mines, known orogenic gold mines, those can be used as test material for the artificial intelligence. So basically you tell artificial intelligence that there are gold mines, please find similar features for these several layers of data, kind of geophysical, geochemical, and then the model can be trained and trained further, and then going back to field and check whether you actually find those places, what your model, artificial intelligence and machine learning models, whether you really can find some gold prospect areas in those. And that has been one of the methods what Geological Survey of Finland has been developing. We've established a professorship on that field, and a very good colleague of mine, Vesa Nykkänen, has now a team who is producing scientific results constantly on variety of commodities. And that is one of the key elements there.
Thank you. Sarah, I mean, there is now more and more collaboration with educational institutes, with people who are involved directly in the field, with mining companies, with equipment manufacturers, all the kind of stakeholders, but also in the research and development, such as at KACST, where you work. I never knew what metaverse is before, and I had to download Snow Crash novel, which was written 20 years ago about another world and so forth. But you are very knowledgeable about metaverse. How do you see the application and how can we use it to help close the gap in terms, especially in terms of encouraging young Saudi men and women to work in the mining industry.
Yeah, of course. First of all, thank you for having me here, and happy to share my ideas about the advantage of metaverse in the mining industry. First of all, the metaverse is an immersive virtual reality. It's really general world that can describe the limitless software and hardware of creating an immersive world. VR is one of the technologies that have been used in metaverse, of course. So the VR have the advantages in the mining industry, I believe, in two main areas. The first one is the production, let's say, optimizing the process of mining by including engineers, managers, safety managers into the process of mining to optimize, to create the safety protocols, to create the process from A to Z, or simply by inspection the process. The second thing is using VR for training. We can train people all around Saudi Arabia by creating hands-on, on-site experiment. By using simulation, we can create like an on-site world, and one of the main challenges to do that is having high-quality data, as Dr. Khalid and Dr. Asko has been talking about. If we get the high-quality data, so we can depict the real world and the real mining site to create the best training experience as we can. We can train the new skill set, find new talents. We can train in maintenance, I'm talking about the research perspective. There hasn't been much research on mining, using VR in mining. This is a new field of research, which I find has a very good potential. But there have been studies about comparing the training using VR, comparing to the traditional training method, and they've been training using VR reduced time significantly.
But we're heading in that direction, right, towards using more and more of this technology. Let me go to Khalid. This leads us to think about collaboration. It leads us to that not all jobs in the mining industry are in the mines. Not all jobs are in remote areas. Many of them are in the city, in engineering and so forth. So how are you addressing the preparation of the next generation in these various areas, and how much of the metaverse and AI and virtual reality or VR, as I'm getting used to using these acronyms and so on?
Well, it's great that Sarah has mentioned one of the limitations of the VR or metaverse, which is the requirement of time and high amount of quality data that is needed to create such virtual reality platform that need to be updated. However, there are certain what you call ways, like what we have seen in this exhibition. We have seen 3 at least entities, Aramco, KFUPM, and Ma'aden, have shown their VR or metaverse technologies, and they have shown also the application towards the mining industry or minerals. In education, VR picked its peak during the pandemic, especially in 2020 and 2021. As a geoscientist, one of the main important, one of the what you call a flagship course is the field geology. You need to take the what you call students outside to train them on several field skills. And during that difficult time, during the pandemic time, we were not able to take them to the field. So the only solution or the only alternative was to utilize VR. Luckily, we have had a team of remote sensing and of computer scientists, young, who were into this technology. They designed within 3-4 weeks a nice platform that will imitate the field side. And that has at least bridged some of the needed skills that we were striving to have during that difficult time. Back to the mining industry, I can cite one important what you call training, or one important phase that we can utilize metaverse or VR in general, like in safety. Take, for example, the blasting operation phase that is used to disintegrate and fragment and loosen the rocks from the mine. If you have a newly joined employee, you don't want to put him immediately into such dangerous situations and train him. He has no experience. So the best way will be to utilize VR or metaverse, an imaginary or virtual world that will imitate such operation, blasting operation, in order for them, whether a mining engineer or geoscientist who will be dealing with the blasting operation, to get acquainted and to get comfortable with such a bit sensitive task. So by doing so, you save his life, also you save the organization reputation, and at the same time, you at least keep the sort of positive perception by the society and community against the mining industry.
Yeah, and besides, it's non-invasive and less costly as well. And speaking of cost, if I can ask Asko to get into, in terms of exploration. I mean, okay, using technology is fine and great, but we don't want to use technology for the sake of technology. We want to use it in order to achieve the results that will be beneficial. So thinking of that, what about the pre-processing designs of how you're going to design the mine, and how you're going to digitalize the mine and so forth, to make it safe, to make it efficient, to make it productive in the best possible way?
I would fully echo one of the things what comes to costs, that the in the early stage, I'm talking about exploration stage, so it's quite important that if we are talking about mineral prospectivity modeling type of artificial approach, it's the data. What Sarah and Khalid already echoed, already said that the data is all about the data. And that is it, really, what comes to mineral prospectivity modeling. If your data is garbage, you put garbage into artificial intelligence, you get garbage out. It's quite simple. So if I would recommend something to somebody to invest somewhere in the early stage, before even mine phase, it's high quality, well QC, QA controlled data. It's all about the data when in the starting phase. You mentioned pre-processing. That's another thing. Sometimes you have old data, but it needs to be pre-processed, and then we really need a geological, geophysical, IT expertise, and like colleagues have already said, I think there we have another thing. How to get the best talents who have a multidisciplinary approach. Perhaps geology as such is not enough, but we need also new talents who are IT specialists, who might have a passion to do it. It's all about passion going into there, developing something new, and kind of not only conventional approaches. So expertise is all about then. So I think that's where the cost point of view, I would invest the money.
Okay, thank you. Sarah, KACST is a national organization, and it is there to share the knowledge, share the data, share, and as a researcher, is KACST collaborating with international organizations that are involved in the R&D, or even within Saudi Arabia, like KACST, for example, I know they're doing a lot of research in deep sea mining and what have you. So is there that collaboration going on, and is there collaboration between KACST and, let's say, mining companies or people in the private sector? So I'm looking for the public-private partnership in that question.
Yeah, of course. There's the excellent centers at KACST that we collaborate with international schools, big schools. For example, my center, we're collaborating with Cambridge University in research about different topics and manufacturing in general. And there are a lot of centers in KACST collaborating as well. And yes, I was thinking about the same thing, about the collaboration between the research, the industry, and the people, the three things. And I was thinking about how we integrate this new technologies. Because integrating these new technologies is a journey. It's a big challenge, and it's a journey. So I believe that by viewing the workforce needed, the skill set required for future, and by then we can use the technologies that we already have now, the things that we already know, to fast track the development, and we can scale from there.
Okay. I know KACST has been since the 60s involved in solar, the solar village and the solar energy. So part of the challenge with mining or mines is that they are in remote areas. So what about the electrification of these mines, maybe using renewable energy, whether wind or solar? And we've got plenty of solar in Saudi Arabia. That's the second thing. What's your view on that, Khalid?
Well, from a geoscience point of view, I will speak. I know you've been just moderating this plenary session about batteries. Remember that solar panels and all these batteries and all this clean energy that we are moving towards requires specific types of metals like lithium, cobalt, and copper, and all these ones. And I believe 60% of it is coming from the Africa and mainly from land. And it's time, if you have had chance yesterday to attend the marine mining or subsea or deep sea mining, that could be a new frontier that we need to invest in order to what we call mine, and in order to extract things that are located in our what we call coastal or seas. Remember that Saudi Arabia is blessed with a long stretch of seas, like the Red Sea, 2,250 kilometers, and in the middle of the Red Sea you have this opening and all these lovely what's called magnesium deposits that are coming from the magma. So if we by somehow can explore, characterize those ones, and they're already being done, by the way, in several countries like Germany, like Canada, like India, United Kingdoms. The technology is there. We need just to bring it up, utilize it, and extract huge amount of metal resources that are lying in the Red Sea or Gulf of Aqaba that will help us to produce more solar panels that will definitely contribute to the future mines that will open up, inshallah.
Okay. I mean, today there is a demand and supply disconnects. Okay, the demand is outstripping the totally outstripping the supply, and it's creating maybe a global crisis. Saudi Arabia is sitting on mineral reserves of $1.3 trillion, okay, and the world is hungry for it. So, in your opinion, where do you see the fastest way that we can meet and mitigate that risk of that looming crisis that's already here, and we are a few years behind it, and it requires investments of $200 to $300 billion a year, and so if we talk over the next few years, and the gap is getting bigger, and we're talking maybe $50 trillion, according to the speaker this morning, the CEO of ERG. So what's your opinion?
Europe certainly is dependent on raw materials, and what European Union has done is they have, or we as a European members of the European Union, we have defined a critical raw material list for European Union. There are several ways how that could influence from the European perspective. It lists raw materials that we especially are dependent on, and one of the aspects is that they secure the supply chain. How to secure that is the European level contracts with the outside the Europe, and I can for sure understand that there is a huge interest also for Europeans to do that. Another thing is to develop the tools, technological tools for improve the exploration, and also to attract investments in the exploration. And as we all know, one of the things is that when the company comes anywhere, the company for sure wants to secure that it has the best talent, and it has also the capability and security to work in that area, kind of secure environment to come, and rely that the investment what the company is doing for exploration will continue. And we as a geological survey in Finland has been contributed providing very much open data for the companies. So basically when the company comes in Finland, it has already vast amount of geological data and tools like artificial intelligence and machine learning tools, and then the expertise to use that. So I could imagine that these aspects are not only from the European perspective, but applicable for other regions as well.
Okay, we have like 2 minutes left, so Sarah, I'm going to give you the last word. KACST is a research and development R&D institute focusing on innovation, and usually a country's development is looked at with the number of patents that it registers and successfully. So where are we as a country in this area? Are the number of patents rising year after year? How is it?
Yeah, of course. Actually, the number of patents and research published has increased significantly in the last years. And if I'm going to talk about my field of research, which is water treatment from heavy metals, which is we would create membranes to treat water from heavy metals. We have significantly improved in this area, and KACST work extensively in publishing papers in this field and acquiring patents as well.
Great. Well, I would love the conversation to continue, but I'm told, and you know, they put something in my ear. They keep telling me, you know, how many minutes I have left. So, before my good friend here gets the stick and pull us out, we will. I want to thank you so much for the knowledge that I have personally gained from you, and I consider myself a graduate of the Sarah School of Metaverse. If you start a school, remember to give the credit to me for the name. So please join me in giving a round of applause to our panelists. Thank you.
I think we're waiting. There we are. Amra, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Panel, thank you very much. It's such an important topic that we have there, and I've taken good notes, so we'll get them into the manifest after the forum. Ladies and gentlemen, again, please thank our moderator and panelists. Okay, while I've got you there,